Hello everyone! Today I want to talk to you about shimmer inks. They look really great on paper, don't they? But because there will always be a but, they do not make our lives easier. We need to be careful what type of paper we are using, be prepared for a thorough cleaning, and most importantly, we have to consider the type of nib. I also want to share that I'm not necessarily a fan of shimmer inks, as they require more effort than non-shimmer inks. However, my inner child still jumps with joy upon seeing that golden shimmer on page, so from time to time I like to indulge myself. So, let's not waste any more time and dive into the world of shimmer inks. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Do you know in what movie this line has been used and by whom? So, what are shimmer inks exactly? Simply put, they are inks to which small particles of glitter have been added. These are suspended in the respective ink and tend to settle at rest, as you can see here. This is the very reason for which you should gently move the bottle, roll it or rotate it depending on the type of bottle, always before use. This will ensure that the shimmer particles are well distributed. I might repeat myself, but please do not shake or agitate the bottle, otherwise you will get plenty of air bubbles, which will then interfere with your flow. Let me just demonstrate. So if I do it like this, and then I open the bottle, you can already see how many bubbles there are here. Gentle is best with such inks. The sediment particles have a glitter-like effect, making the ink look beautiful on paper. I am going to talk more about the nib size and why it is important to choose larger sizes, but for now please remember that an extra fine or fine nib has a higher chance of clogging. Regardless of the type of nib you are choosing, if you are using a shimmer ink, you will have to clean your pen thoroughly. The pen maintenance is probably one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of such inks, but hey, nothing is perfect. Sometimes you have to put in the work in order to enjoy a beautiful ink. I did not clean my fountain pen on purpose so that I could show you the glimmer residue on the feed. This can cause flow issues, clogging, so you need to clean your pen thoroughly. One more thing before we move on, the shimmer ink should not be confused with the sheen ink, where the ink shows off a shine of a different color than the ink itself. The shimmer ink can come with different types of shimmer. I have for you today the golden and the silver shimmer, but I have also seen some nice inks with copper and bronze. And my choices for today are golden Lapis from the Edelstein Pelikan collection and the Arctic Blue from Diamine. Let's start first with the golden Lapis. This is probably one of the most beautiful shimmer inks, one of absolute best quality. Pelikan has started the Edelstein collection 14 years ago, releasing a lot of beautiful inks, always matching the color of a gem. The golden lapis was a favorite of the ancient Egyptians. It was considered a jewel for the kings and often associated with strength, wisdom, and protection from negative forces. And I love the idea of being used as inspiration for this ink. The bottle in itself is quite elegant and has a capacity of 50 milliliters. Check out the cap as well, how beautiful it is. This is a blue shimmer ink with golden particles, which offer a beautiful contrast. Definitely works best with larger nibs, offering a consistent distribution of the glitter particles. I really enjoyed writing with it, with little or no need to agitate the pen. This is a well saturated ink with a fast drying time. So, time to test it. This is a swatch of the ink. Let me show you from up close. Look at that beautiful golden glitter. It really looks great. I have tested the drying time. It is around 5 seconds. Let's try a dip test as well using my glass pen. So this is the Pelikan, Edelstein, golden Lapis. As you can see, the dip test is excellent. You can write for a bit with it before going in for a second dip. Let's get a close-up as well. I don't know if the glitter is so visible here, but nonetheless it looks beautiful. Let's also do a swab test. The ink is clearly not waterproof. I have here a wet cotton swab. Check it out. You can see the smearing and a bit of distortion. I have inked my Sailor fountain pen with it. I want to show you how the sediment looks in the converter. As you can notice, the particles are at the bottom, so if you want to make sure that the glitter particles are evenly distributed when writing, here is my trick. You can take the fountain pen and gently roll it between our fingers, or you can make it like this, up and down, so that you can be sure that the glitter particles are well distributed. Let's also try a short coat. You can also see that I'm already experiencing a bit of a flow issue because I haven't cleaned my pen. Always do good things. I will definitely clean it after this video. But check out this beautiful golden glitter. Really great. Now, the name of this ink is probably one of the first things that draw me. Arctic Blue sounds perfect, so I wanted to give this shimmer ink a try. And I'm so glad I did it because it turned out to be quite the experience. The ink has so much silver shimmer, I'm sure you'll fall in love with it as well. While the label is not that impressive, the ink in itself more than compensates for it. So let's see it on the page. First things first, let's roll it a bit or maybe turn it around, but remember, no excessive shaking. We want to avoid the air bubbles. Okay, it's perfect. Let me take a cotton swab and check out the Arctic Blue. So I would say that it is not that visible, so maybe I need to move it a bit more just to make sure. A small tip, you can always look at the bottom. If you are still seeing shimmer particles, then you need to move it more or gently agitate it. Okay, here I am trying my second swab. Hopefully this time we'll get more glitter. Yes, I think now it's more visible. And one thing I noticed, let me see if I can get my cotton swab from up close. You can see there is so much glitter on it. I went ahead and inked my TWSBI Eco Caffe bronze with this because it has this clear large ink window and I wanted to show you how the sediment looks. Just beautiful. I think this is the prettiest things about using a demonstrator. You can always see the ink, and with the shimmer ink the effect is even more beautiful. Once again, keep in mind that this is an ink with a higher drying time. I timed around 20 seconds. So here we have the TWSBI Eco Caffe bronze. and the ink is Arctic Blue from Diamine. Okay, so a couple of thoughts on the ink. Aside from the higher drying time, it has a low water resistance, which I'm going to prove right now. I have waited for the ink to dry up a bit. I will come back in a moment. Let's see if the ink has dried and notice what happens. So we have smearing, we have line distortion, definitely not a waterproof ink. I also noticed that this is a very wet ink, but despite the fact that it has these glitter particles, I did not experience any flow issues, any issues whatsoever. Oh, let me arrange the camera here a bit. We have a very good ink, well saturated, no risk of clogging, and look how beautiful it looks in my TWSBI. I am going to talk a bit more about the shimmer inks while I show you the two inks on the same page. Once again, if I want to use the ink, I will start by rotating the ink bottle. For the other type of bottle, you can also rotate it. What matters is that the shimmer particles are equally distributed before writing. Here comes the repetition: avoid shaking the bottle, especially if you do not want to deal with flow issues. In terms of fountain pens, my most important advice would be to use a cheaper one, or at least one that can be easily disassembled, as you want to access the internal parts to clean them. I would never use my Mont Blanc Jane Austen with such ink, as it is a more complex fountain pen, and I would not be able to clean it as thoroughly as desired. From personal experience, I like using this ink with my Sailor Fude de Mannen, as this has a broad nib, and I can also practice different line variations with this lovely ink. I'm going to show you right away. And as I said, I have also been using my TWSBI Eco Caffe Bronze because it has this clear, generous ink window, and I can see when the sediment has settled. Not to mention, once again, look how pretty it looks. Regardless of the pen you are choosing, make sure that the cap seals very well so as to prevent the ink from drying on the nib or feed. I have also had success with my glass pen. I'm going to test it for a bit right away as well. Practicing a bit of calligraphy. Granted, I'm only a beginner, but it is fun nonetheless. Here are the two inks. Check them out. Returning a bit to the type of nib, you can definitely use any kind of nib. However, the smaller the nib, the higher the chances of clogs and flow issues. In addition, an extra fine or fine nib might be harder to clean, especially since the particles can sometimes settle in the feed. I personally prefer broader nibs, as you can also see the beautiful shimmer in the broader strokes where the ink tends to pool. The median nibs are good too. The TWSBI has been doing just fine with this ink. In the end, it all depends on your personal preference. Important, once you have gently shaken the bottle, do not waste too much time. You'll want to ink your fountain pen quickly before the particles settle. They tend to settle quite fast. Now, keep in mind that you might experience some flow issues during writing. That is a potential risk and we must assume it. We can reduce the chances of flow issues by gently rolling or rotating the pen, and this is the simple method to ensure that the shimmer particles are evenly distributed so that you can keep seeing that beautiful glimmer effect on paper. When not using the fountain pen, I recommend storing it vertically with the nib upwards. This will prevent the shimmer particles from settling in the feed. So this is the Pelikan Edelstein golden lapis. check it out from up close. It looks really beautiful. And we also have the Arctic blue from Diamine. In the TWSBI Eco Caffe Bronze. Once again, here are the swatches. I find that the Arctic blue is a bit more subtle, while the golden lapis is exactly as expected, a bit on the opulent side. Okay, you might wonder how to clean a pen after using a shimmering. Well, the process is not that different from a regular cleaning, but in my opinion, you will have to be more thorough. This is because the glitter particles tend to be more stubborn. I noticed that sometimes, even after a thorough cleaning, when the pen has been inked with a non-shimmer ink, there was some glitter on paper. Well, this is exactly like the confetti you have been using for a birthday party. Somehow it will reappear again and again. It is worth it though. I usually use warm water and a bit of dish soap to clean my pen after using a shimmering. A toothbrush is best when it comes to cleaning the feed, but be careful not to be too aggressive with it, otherwise you might actually damage it. A pen flush as well as a nib cleaning solution can definitely make the cleaning process easier. I have also read that the ultrasonic cleaners can be used to remove all the residue glitter. Haven't tried such a device yet. Maybe if you have tried it, you can let me know in the comments what was your experience like. While I test the golden lapis a bit more, let's recap some of the tips I have for you when using shimmer inks. First recommendation would be to use a broader nib, as these work best for shimmer inks. A larger nib, such as a medium or especially a broad, will allow the shimmer particles to flow more easily, with a lower risk of clogging. In addition, a broader nib will allow you to consume all that ink much faster and not have to deal with unpleasant results. Not to mention, it looks great on paper. Just look at the beautiful shimmer effect. Sorry that my camera did not manage to focus. Let me try to complete the heart a bit. Okay. Once again, my recommendation is to choose a pen that can be easily taken apart and cleaned, especially when you are experiencing flow issues. My personal recommendation is a cartridge converter or a piston filler. These are all great options, can be easily cleaned. Don't be like myself. Clean your pen regularly, including the feed area. This is the most important thing in order to prevent the buildup of shimmer particles in the feed. And of course, the type of paper also matters a lot. Choose one that is smooth and bright with less texture, as this will reveal the qualities of the ink the best. Remember, when you are choosing a paper that has a lot of texture, that means also a lot of paper fibers, and this will definitely cause problems. I really like how it flows on paper and how it runs. So, when you choose a shimmer ink, you have to accept that this is not a regular ink. As I mentioned before, flow issues are a part of the deal, as the ink contains the glitter particles. Skipping is probably one of the most common signs that clogging has occurred, especially if the pen has not been used for several days in a row. Here, I must insist again that you should clean your pens regularly, especially if you have been using shimmer inks. Left unused, the ink tends to evaporate, which will cause the shimmer particles to represent a larger percentage of that ink. It makes sense that clogging will occur with your flow suffering. Not to mention, the ink tends to dry up in the feed, affecting the overall functioning. In the end, you want to take good care of your pens. Let's write a bit more with the TWSBI as well. a very nice shade of blue. Somehow the silver particles make it a bit metallic. Really, really nice. A bit of doodling as well. So, I hope that I haven't scared you. Ultimately, using a shimmering should be a fun experience, something that keeps on nurturing your inner child. So, my advice would be to just choose the shimmer inks that speak to you. Do not hesitate to experiment with different types of nibs and paper, discovering what works best for you. And be aware the glitter effect tends to vary during writing, especially if the particles begin to settle. Do you have a favorite shimmering? What is your experience with these inks? Let me know in the comments, I would really love to hear your opinion. As always, remember that we share a common passion, fountain pens and inks. Hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and talk to me. I love comments. That's it for today. Thanks for being here and watching my videos. Until next time, keep your pens inked.